What I did not expect was for it to continue for an extended period of time, almost with no break.
We tried to go on vacation and failed because our kids are too attached. We went to Jamaica, supposed to be 7 days, and we came back in 2 days.
Doesn't even feel like we went anywhere.
Our kids are spoiled, attached, wimps. Kids.
Wimps.
Wimps.
Wow.
Or I don't know. Kids. I don't know. It's hard to assess the emotional state of kids.
2 days, and the trip to Jamaica, I guess, is not that long, but going to Ocho Rios is, I don't know, 2 hours, over 2 hours from the Montego Bay airport. So it was a good 5 hours of traveling to get to our destination. So that's 5 hours plus of traveling back. It's 10 hours of traveling for 48 hours of vacation.
Yeah, you guys might be thinking, why would we go for 2 days? Well, it wasn't a plan. Obviously, we had a 7-day thing planned as part of her birthday, and you know, we made a big mistake, and the mistake is maybe not going for a shorter stay, because our kids could not wrap their mind around 7 days. They could not see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Not preparing them more.
So go ahead and describe, you know, what happened. Like, why did we come back? What were the events? And, you know, why did we feel compelled?
I mean, this started before even leaving, because my birthday party was Friday night. And on that Friday night, I left at like 6 o'clock or so to the venue. I was going to get dressed there, get my makeup there. Justin was here until I don't know when you left to the venue. But as I'm walking out the door to go to my venue for the party, you know, it was already starting. It was like, oh, you're going to be out for the rest of the night, and boo-hoo-hoo, and this and that. And I was just like, listen, it's my birthday party. I'm going to my birthday party, but I'll be back. I'll see you in the morning.
By the way, if you want context for this, we have on YouTube, we have a video. It's called Triplets Cannot Go to the Party. Our identical twins, Ava and Alexis, had a friend over who kind of looked like them with braids, so they called themselves triplets. So you can see in this video, Ava specifically got upset when, you know, we were leaving to go to the birthday party. You can watch that video.
Those were the kind of like where the snowball started before the avalanche ran downhill. So she was calling me non-stop as I'm getting, you know, makeup done and hair done at the venue. And I'm just like, Ava, you know, I don't know why you're so upset. Like, there's people at the house. My brother was here, his girlfriend, her 2 kids, my mom, and your siblings. And you're in your own home. And your friend. So it's like there's so many people. Like, why are you upset and distracted? I would think, like, you have all this stuff to do and people to play with and talk to and all this other stuff. Wasn't the case. And then got home super late. They were already in bed. She texted me before going to bed, make sure that I know you're going to get home super late, but make sure you come and you say hi to me anyway. And before you leave in the morning, if I'm not awake, make sure you wake me up. And I'm like, Ava, like, I'm not going to leave without seeing you. Like, we wouldn't walk out the door. I'm like, oh, well, we saw them, you know, 24 hours ago. Woke up for the flight in the morning, went in there, you know, to wake them up and say, you know, we're going to be leaving soon, blah, 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 all that stuff, you know, saying goodbye. We'll see you soon. You have all these people here. Have fun. We'll see you soon. Wasn't happy then, obviously, either. But again, like when somebody's leaving, sometimes even as an adult, you might get teary-eyed or upset because you're like, oh, they're going, you know, you're physically seeing them go at the moment. So I expected that. What I did not expect was for it to continue for an extended period of time and for like almost with no break. So it was like calling, texting, calling, texting. And obviously we give them phones for communication with us when we're not around, but this was excessive.
Yeah, so we get to Jamaica, and it seemed like that night she had a birthday dinner, and at the dinner we're interrupted by Ava specifically over and over and over again. I miss you, call me back. You talk to her. I tried to talk to her for about 20 minutes, and it was just basically, you know, trying to surmise what's really going on. And she's 8 and she's bored, and she thinks about her mom and dad, and she misses things, and she just cannot break that. And the fact that we're gone for 7 days was just not something that she could wrap her mind around. And Alexis was calling too, but maybe it's because on the coattails of Ava was the one vanguarding it all, but she was just kind of inconsolable. You felt sympathy for her because she's 8, but you also were like, well, let your mom and dad be your mom and dad for a little bit and let us have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really the biggest deal is not necessarily about her or them being 8 or Jersey being 4. I think it's really just habit or just what they're used to. Because, I mean, we are not the first, last, second parents to ever go on a week-long vacation without their kids. It's really about what they're used to. And I think that because we've never done such and traveled with any meaningful time without them, I think one time in the 8 years that I went somewhere for 3 days, and I forgot about it, but man, that was misery as well. I remember like, what is going on in that house? Because the car was just, I'm like, what is happening? But that was really the only time that I had left for any significant amount of time. The only other time I went to Vegas was 2 days, like barely. I went Friday, was back Sunday, so it was barely 2 days. I think us thinking that we could go for X amount of days, thinking, well, they're in their home. They'll have people here to play with, people they don't usually see, people they're excited about seeing, people they could spend time with, thinking that that would distract from the 7 days. And I'm going to blame some of y'all too, because I was on live on Facebook, and before saying we would go for 7 days, I think I told you, like, let's try and go for 4, right? Is that what I said before? Something like that. And because I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but talking to you people, some of y'all on Facebook, and like, you guys have to go for the 7 days. Like, you're going to regret it if you don't go. You got to be adults too. It's okay. Like, they're not even going to be thinking about you. You guys have all these people coming. Like, you guys got to do it. This was literally like 98% of the commentary, because I was actually crying on the Facebook Live, because I was like, I don't think I can do, more than 3, maybe 4 days. Like, I was visibly upset. I was just having like anxiety about it. So I was like, there's no way. But listening to all of you guys' experience, at least on Facebook, like I'm saying, and you guys giving feedback and like, we've been doing this and we make sure we do this every year, and I was like, they'll be fine. They'll be distracted. They'll be at home. They'll have school. They'll have activities, all this stuff, and convincing me like, yeah, like we should live as adults a little. So
yeah, Facebook, we're going to send you the bill for Jamaica, because we kind of lost out on quite a bit of money because we went for a couple days. But we had friends there and we met people there, and it's interesting because there are other moms and dads that you meet or you talk to, and they're just like, no, I'm gone all the time. Like once every couple months, I go for 5-6 days, and my kids don't say anything. So it makes me wonder, like, I know that we're really good parents and we're very close to our kids and we have a close family. And I think that's what it is. Like, our kids just have an attachment to the family that we've built and that we've established. And I'm not saying other families aren't close, but I am saying that some people have traveled very, very early on in the parenting and the kids are used to it, whereas we haven't, she hasn't. I do, because I play in golf tournaments. It might be like 3-day tournaments, and I'll go travel 3 days and at least, once a month, or even sometimes more than that, because that's my time. I think adults need their time, and golf is my time. The sport is zen to me, but also just driving, listening to podcasts, and being it's my time to refuel. So kids are getting used to me doing that, because that's what dad does. She doesn't do it as much, so I think there's more attachment there because the kids are used to like her being around. Whereas going back to what I said about other parents, I think early on, they just kind of establish with their kids that they travel sometimes. You got to, quote unquote, suck it up and like, I'll be back in 5 days.
At least for me personally, and I think for the most part, I in my head have some weird number, like, before they're 4, I will not be going anywhere without them. I don't know why 4. I guess it feels like they have a little bit of independence. They have good communication skills by 4. If something's happening, they can contact you. Like, that type of stuff is what I was, in my head, I had convinced myself. So the girls, I had always said when they turned 4, like, I'm going to like book stuff for Justin and I to go start doing things, or I'm going to go and maybe have a weekend with the girls, and things that I just didn't do before. But then when the girls turned 4, here came Jersey. So then for me, it was like, got another 4-year sentence. that's in my, and it wasn't like imposed. Nobody said, well, this is what you got to do. It was just my own thought and thinking. And I don't regret it, you know, but it just makes me think like, wow, like I just committed 8 straight years to not doing this at all. Set the precedent for them not being used to it, which is fine. But trying to dive into it with a 7-day trip was a mistake. You know, I think that maybe, you know, starting with the weekend where we go and say, okay, we're going to, even a staycation, we go some nice hotel in Atlanta and spend the weekend there and just spa and room service just to have a weekend. And then, okay, that was the weekend. Then extend it by 2 days. Now you do 4 days, you know, in another 6 months or something like that, just easing into it. But I mean, like I said, I knew that they would be upset and missing us because obviously we are around each other a lot. But I guess I just thought it would be like, you know, I might call once or twice a day and say, I miss you guys, I'm sad. But then they go on with their life and do stuff. And then we get the next day, and then we get the next day. And we would go in that fashion. But the level of crying and, I guess, upsetness, I don't know how to describe it, was so intense and so much that it wasn't even like, oh, you know, whatever, tomorrow we'll talk to her and it wasn't that. When she said she didn't want ice cream, when they were having ice cream after dinner, she's like, I don't want it. And I was like, you don't want ice cream?
To me, it's a bit conceivable. I think the kids, the girls I've always tried to like toughen them up in some regards because they will cry like crazy to get a shot. They're scared of every bee that they see. So it just makes sense that like, you know, we're gone for a few days and the only reaction they have is just to lose it. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's in their demeanor, but that's just kind of how they are.